Hello again, family and friends of MBC. Time for another truck talk. John 12:3 says, Mary therefore took a pound of expensive ointment made from pure nard and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. Think about that. When we love someone or something, we go to extremes to demonstrate our affection, right? Think about this. A boyfriend who drives 5 hours just to spend 2 hours with the girl he loves. Or maybe that fanatic NFL fan who paints their chest and sits in frigid temperatures to cheer on his favorite team. We do these things without asking, without hesitation. They're simply a natural overflow of our devotion. Here, one night, Mary does something a little extreme at dinner party in Jesus' honor. She pours out a bottle of priceless perfume on Jesus' feet. In doing so, she shows us what worshiping and adoring Jesus looks like. After all, worship is much more than merely attending a church service. Worship is declaring the worthiness of Jesus for our entire being, our time, energy, resources, attention, talents, our very lives. Let's kind of unpack what Mary's extreme behavior teaches us about worship. First, worship is a response. Worship is not something we manufacture. It's not self-generated action. On the contrary, worship is reacting to who God is and what he's done through Jesus Christ. It's a byproduct of seeing his beauty and understanding a fraction of his greatness. When the God of infinite glory reveals himself, there's only one proper response: to worship. In this particular case, Mary's act of worship is a response to a miracle. Jesus had just raised her brother Lazarus from the dead. Recognizing she's in the presence of the resurrection and the life, Mary's not content for this to be a typical dinner party. She goes above and beyond to express her love and gratitude to Jesus. While we haven't been raised physically like Lazarus, Jesus has raised us spiritually. When we are dead in our trespasses and sins, we are made alive in who? In Jesus Christ. The question becomes, how will we respond to what Jesus has done for us? Second, worship entails sacrifice. For us, perfume or cologne is an everyday commodity. We spray it on really without giving it much thought. For Mary, however, this perfume was worth a year's wage. It could have been sold in an emergency and therefore was a source of financial security for her and her family. Yeah, giving up a little bottle of perfume was an enormous sacrifice, but Jesus was worth it. Not all sacrifices look like Mary's. Remember, the widow's mite. But true worship always involves some expression of selflessness. Worship calls us to lay down what is most precious to us, namely ourselves. And then finally, worship demands humility. Mary doesn't anoint Jesus' head, but his dirty, smelly feet. This was a job typically reserved for servants. To top it off, she doesn't use a cloth or towel to accomplish this menial task. No, she uses her own hair. Needless to say, this is not normal behavior. However, in the presence of Jesus, it was entirely appropriate for Mary to forget about herself and worship with self-abandon. To lift up the name of Jesus, we must bow down. So, here's the $1,000,000 question that you need to ask yourself. When was the last time you humbly and sacrificially responded to the worthiness of Jesus? Can you honestly say there's ever been a time when you went to the extreme to honor what he's done on your behalf? In other words, when was the last time you worshiped like Mary? Something to meditate on today. Until next time, love you guys. Keep looking up.